Olá, é uma honra estar novamente aqui no canal do meu amigo Mago Anael e mais uma vez poder conversar com todos vocês que acompanham este que é um dos melhores e mais importantes canais sobre ocultismo e magia da internet mundial. Eu tenho a satisfação de apresentar a esse grande público um amigo querido e parceiro que reside na Inglaterra, seu país de nascimento, cujo heterônimo é S. Rob, cujo nome real é Simon Matthew Robin. Esse amigo é alguém muito capacitado em termos de ocultismo, de magia, de parapsicologia. Acaba de lançar, na data de hoje, que estou gravando este vídeo, seu 308º livro. Todas as suas 308 obras estão em edição, disponíveis em e-book e também em formato impresso. Ele, além de ser um professor universitário, um doutor, ele também é um PhD por uma universidade norte-americana, tem um longo trabalho em todo o universo oculto, faz parte de várias dezenas de entidades de pesquisas, tanto de parapsicologia. Ele é o representante do brasileiríssimo grupo iMagic para todo o Reino Unido, como também é embaixador honorário da missão diplomática de Relações Internacionais dos Estados Unidos da América na Inglaterra, e faz parte de sociedades bastante fechadas, como o Ghost Club, a mais antiga sociedade de pesquisas paranormais do mundo, formada em 1862, e também da Sociedade Internacional de Escapologia, aquela coisa que muitos mágicos de palco mostram, como fugir de algemas, fugir de malas fechadas, aquilo que tornou tão famoso o grande mágico R. Houdini. Só que aí não é mágica, aí são técnicas, e ele é um grande especialista nisso também. Eu tenho a honra de ser coautor dele em algumas obras, uma já sucesso atualmente nos Estados Unidos, a respeito de voodoo, outras já lançadas inclusive em português sobre magia com ovos, e temos outros títulos em preparação. E é o suficiente para vocês assistirem agora o vídeo de apresentação dele, falando sobre o trabalho dele, a vivência, a experiência. Ele é uma pessoa bastante modesta nas suas palavras, mas quem coloca os ensinamentos dele em prática vê que o conhecimento dele é profundo e real. Ele é um grande renovador da magia, pois que ele mostra que quem é a magia somos nós. Quem ler as obras dele vai entender bastante. Agora eu passo a palavra ao meu irmão S. Rob. Seja bem-vindo a estas praias, Simon. Até logo.
My name is S. Rob. I am an occultist and occult author. I have written 300 books on the occult at the time of recording, more I am told than anyone else in the English language. Some books are available in other languages, and hopefully, eventually, they all will be. I am here to talk about magic, but real magic, not trickery or deception, because with complete honesty and certainty, I can say that magic is real. But not just is it real, there is more to it than that, because it is a very important force in the world. But do not think that when I use the word magic, that I am referring to a subject that is not understood. Magic is not a word used so that we do not need to understand anything, but a subject which has at its core understanding the world and reality and how we can change our lives. This does mean that reality is a lot larger than you think it is. It means that different realms exist, different types of entities you're not familiar with, and also that the world is easier to understand when you have knowledge of the occult of real magic. Real magic is one whole subject, but many people have chosen to cut off some part of the subject or several books and say that this is all there should be, and try to create groups of occultists that are not allowed to look outside of this restriction. However, people being as they are will quite rightly look outside of artificially created boundaries anyway. I am an occultist, and yet I place no restrictions on anyone. I know that your life is your life, and what choices you choose to make are your own. But I ask one thing, that you consider that occultism will help you not just understand the world, but yourself. I know that, like most other people, you will have been led to believe that you are powerless, or that you have no power outside of what is considered the normal restrictions of life. They have lied to you. You are more than the body you walk around in, or even the world you perceive. But I do not ask that you consider the power that occultism can give you just because it is a subject I like, but because occultism has been practiced by humanity for as long as we have existed. This means that you were never meant to walk this world lonely without the help of the occult. Magic was always meant to be your gift. You were always meant to use it as you would any other gift. But what you choose to do with it is for you to decide, just as your choices are your own. I am not here recording this, or even in this world, to remove your power. I am not even here to give you power. I am here to show you the power you already have. In fact, by embracing the methods of occultism, you will gain in power, but through knowledge and methods. It is simply that they will release what you already have and yet had been deceived to believe did not exist. It is as if I were to convince you that nothing existed outside of a room you were in. You would likely as not never even question what I had said, because it would be classed as self-evidently true. This would effectively make you my prisoner, and yet no bars or locks would be needed, because I would have turned your mind in on itself, and so your true power would be working against you. I have something of a shock for you. I am not your jailer, but you are jailed. Do you think that I am restricted by this meat sack I choose to walk around in? No. Just as I can choose to see the deepest reaches of hell and return, heaven and the many different realms, of which are not even fully understood, so can you. I have summoned more entities than I can even estimate and commanded them, and so can you. There are many ways of doing occultism, real magic, and yet what they are all simply manifestations of the same thing. This means that magic using words and that using a talisman are not necessarily different. The fuel for magic is human will and intent, belief, emotion, although I believe that human will is the easiest to focus. And this is effectively only possible with intent, which is similar. That is why I think it is the easiest and the most potent to use. There may be some people that watch this that seem to have perpetual bad luck, and so I feel I should point out that bad luck is not meant to last forever. In fact, the truth is that such people have an abundance of natural energy, and many, in order to live a good life, must choose to use real magic, although they can choose not to. Real magic will help them to focus their energy, the fuel for magic. This is because a person with an abundance of magical fuel, without using the occult, seems to usually curse themselves with bad luck. The problem is that just as the evil eye, which is a curse that is said to mostly affect children and the old, is often performed by accident when an overlong stare fueled with the emotion of hate causes magic to occur. Yes, this means that although intent is a focus for magic, that people do curse themselves if they have a lot of power. This is why many occultists become occultists, because on some level we realise that our energies need focusing. But there are many forms of occultism, although in truth it is more like a spectrum of occultism, with no specific dividing line between different occult practices possible. However, I am not saying that you choose one form of occultism over any other, but simply that you use what is of use to you. The best magic is the magic that you will use, because magic is here to be used. Occultism is a subject with edges that represents things that have not been done, and it is my job to advance these edges and push them as far as I can push them, or demolish them completely if possible. I do this not just because it is my job as an occultist and occult author, but also because I refuse to be imprisoned in even the largest prison by choice. And this would be effectively what I would be doing. This is not to say that the occultists that came before me were not clever or less in any way, but simply that as the better ones try to expand their subjects, so I believe should we, although this is a personal choice. But for many people, expanding your understanding of the occult is the same thing and just as useful. I know that we all sense that humanity is in trouble, and this is not simply from what picture the media chooses to paint, but because we sense it within us. However, when faced with challenges, there are two main causes of action. The first cause you could choose is denial, and to simply do nothing. This is not a good strategy, but you do get to sit comfortably and see your own destruction. The second strategy is to do something to help yourself. In fact, by doing this, you would be helping all of humanity. But what to do? Well, you cannot run away, because the problem is that you can either choose to be more or less, to embrace power and ascend or not. Humanity is at a point in our development where we can either become more, not just by using the occult, but through developing all our subjects, although real magic is a fundamental one and of great importance in this. Becoming less is, I feel, destruction of humanity, or at least of yourself. Doing nothing is also destruction. You can choose what you want, but choosing to be more and simply embrace your true power will be a much better place to be. But there is not just hope for you, but I feel guaranteed success. Because right now, we are at the beginning of a golden age in the occult. The greatest occultists in the world right now are better than they typically are and have been for a very long time, possibly ever. I know that this will be easier to see from far into the future, but we are here for you now. I think that many of us occultists are getting guidance and direction because we are tapping into something with far greater knowledge, the universal consciousness, to a far greater degree. But motivation is also key, because if this shows something, it is that there is nothing like facing complete and utter destruction, or, if we are lucky, something more approximating slavery to motivate occultists. In fact, it is difficult not to be motivated under these circumstances. But do not think that this means that I am asking you to line up against some opposing force, because no such thing is required or even useful. I'm saying that you need to embrace your power and also mental flexibility to command. This is not to say that gods and goddesses or a single deity do not exist. And for many people, this is what the universal consciousness is, that connects us all. But I do not want to give definitions, because then it becomes about a list of criteria, and if anyone finds one thing on that list unacceptable, they would feel they would need to throw it all away. But you can choose to believe or not anything at all. And for many people, the magical beings they can summon may seem different from a list of criteria they were taught as a child, and for some they may not. And this is fine, because you can experience them for yourself, and this is far better than any imagined description. As occultists, we can connect with these entities and know they exist and choose for ourselves how we judge the experience. But occultists of this age are different, because we know that the different realms of existence are no less complex than ours, which we do not fully understand. This means that we do not seek to gain status by creating puzzles for others to solve, but by showing you tools and ways of doing things, by giving you the ability to understand what is here. But do not assume that all supernatural beings are your friends, or that they are your enemies. They are not. I say this so that you will understand that the mental room you stand in is not all there is, and that there is more. And so I ask that you step out of this room with me so that you can see the outside. But you probably feel scared and feel safe within the mental room you have been tricked into constructing. But it is not safe. The rules of life have changed, and the room effectively is not just a prison, but it is a building that will be demolished, whether you are in it or not. This means that you need to prepare. Do not just sit watching TV or drinking coffee or beer or whatever and thinking, oh, there is lots of time ahead to learn this stuff. Time is an illusion, and yet strangely it can seem to pass quickly. Do not think that it will not matter, because I can learn this at the last minute, because this is the last minute. Although it is difficult to say for certain exactly when you will need to know this magic, but one thing is certain: if everyone does nothing, except those already doing so, then it's been nice knowing you. If not, and people choose to embrace occultism, there won't even be a problem. Unfortunately, people are not like that, and so it is likely that the difficulties that humanity will have to deal with will not be completely smooth. By the way, do not think that dying will release you from these problems, because it won't. I hope that you take the time to learn occultism and get others to do so. And so be better prepared for the world, reality, and the times that follow.
Este programa conta com o apoio de esoteria.com.br. Visite o site esoteria.com.br. A vida com magia.